Nigerian Nightmare!
Kamaru Usman, he is a monster.
Back on the scene, they know who he be. He's rolling with ease. My take out your team.
This dude is terrifying. A relentless attacker.
12-0 in the UFC, yet to taste defeat. I'm at the top of the mountain. I'm the champion.
But his former teammate Gilbert Burns wants his shot at the title.
Gilbert Dorino Burns! Dorino's in love with that knockout life.
He is as well-rounded as they come. So good on his feet, so good on the ground. He can submit any man in the world. He's ready.
I'm gonna fight for the title.
Kamaru Usman, I'm next. He calls out his own teammate. I love it.
That's the first. Everybody wanna who that. And that's the first.
Kamaru Usman!
I know Gilbert. This is a dream for him, but I'll be at the top for a long, long time. It's my job to go in there and put his dreams on hold.
And that's the first. Gilbert Dorino Burns!
This man's one of the best to ever do it. He's a real threat wherever he goes.
He has something that I want. He's gonna be a warrior.
I'm ready. Let's go.
There are no friends when the title is at stake.
Oh my gosh, that video got me even more excited for this Saturday's card. Hey everyone, I am Megan O'Leary. Thank you so much for tuning in to our UFC 258 virtual Q&A. Just a reminder, if you have questions for today's athletes, start submitting them now. We will try to get to as many as possible, but without further ado, we've got to introduce the fighters you came here to hear from, starting with the welterweight champion of the world, Kamaru Usman. Kamaru, I think you're backstage. Let's see if they let you on in here. How are you?
I'm here. I am wonderful. Another one.
Another one.
I'm excited. Yes.
You know, it feels like you just kind of competed, even though it was last summer. How does it feel to you? Does it feel like it's been a long layoff?
No, not really. No, it hasn't felt like that at all because after competing in July, I mean, it's just weird with the whole COVID situation now, with the way that these fights are having to take place. Like, we're all quarantined right now. So it takes all that extra thrill and all that extra stuff that comes around a typical fight week, dealing with the media obligations, the fans and the crowds and all of that. It takes away from it to where now it's, you know, it feels like, oh, I just did this last week. Now I'm quarantined again, getting ready to go again.
Yeah, in the bubble again. And so is the other gentleman who's joining our chat right now. He is a middleweight contender, Kelvin Gastelum. Kelvin, I know you're in the bubble as well. How's it going?
That's right. I'm right here in my hotel room, just chilling.
Did you bring that Kobe jersey as decoration for your room?
That's right. I put it up there as motivation and inspiration. And yeah, I brought it from home.
I actually love that. I love that you figured out how to hang it with a hanger right there on the wall. That's brilliant.
A little ghetto fabulous decoration.
You got to do it. Hey, whatever makes it feel like home, right? Like, obviously there's, especially when you're in a bubble, I'm sure there's things that you're missing from home. Besides the Kobe jersey, I mean, for both of you, did either of you guys bring other things that you're like, I can't have fight week or this bubble experience without?
I always bring my PS4. You know, it makes me feel like I'm right at home, and like with the jersey, I always try and bring something that kind of makes me feel right at home, and really, I do feel really good. I feel really comfortable right now. Like, I made this my own home now, you know, for the week.
It's perfect. What about you, Kamaru?
No, not necessarily yet. I didn't, you know, we just got here. I didn't bring my PS4, so don't have that. Yeah. But I think as the days roll by, it'll start to feel more like it when everyone from my team is here, and we get some games going, some dominoes going, or so you know, or Uno or something like that. Yeah.
I love it.
You can come get some too if they let you out your room. You can come get some too.
You know, I've been known to win a few Uno games.
Really?
Don't challenge her to a Connect 4 game, because that went horrible one time for me.
You know, I did my thing in Denver when I was doing training camp. I did my thing in Connect Four. You know.
All right, I'm gonna try and set up a tournament here inside the bubble. Maybe like, well, maybe not on Thursday. I was gonna say Thursday to distract you, but you guys will be doing other things. We'll see what we can do. But I want to get into these fan questions because we've already had a ton be submitted, and some of them our team started pulling. So if you guys don't mind, let's jump right into it. Because we got some great ones. Eric asked, Kamaru, how hard was it to prepare for this fight, knowing that Gilbert knows more about you than the average opponent, and obviously vice versa as well?
No, it wasn't tough, like, for each and every fight. And that's the thing, too, about it is, yes, he knows me. They know me over there at that team. So they know how I prepare for each and every fight. And they know that I'm not just so, oh my God, I don't work, I don't put the work in. It's a different story when someone's a slacker and they get out there and they get lucky in fights, and but it's another story when that person is a champion and they're the champion for a reason because they put the work in. And so, it's in that sense, I'm even, more so like, okay, they know what's coming, but at the end of the day, when I step in there, I see no face. He said it himself. He wants what I have. So in that case, I have to go in there and I have to let him know that he's not ready for this yet.
How difficult was it? Obviously, physically, it's a big change from Denver to Florida, or from Florida to Denver, I should say. But also, what about like mentally and emotionally? It's not your first time doing camp there, and I know that, but it's got to be a little bit challenging at times because it is somewhat out of the norm still.
Yeah, it is definitely. It is challenging. Initially, because now you have to, you got to change your whole way of life. I got into the sport and I went down to South Florida with Rashad Evans and I got accustomed to a certain type of life, certain type of weather, going to practice, a certain type of guys. That's an important aspect as well because your training partners have to know you. You have to know them. So, they know how to watch you, how to take care of you when you guys are preparing. Because you don't want to start going with new guys that don't know anything about you and they're going balls to the wall and you're just warming up and you end up getting hurt or they end up doing something crazy and it hurts you. And so, that's a change, and that's always something that's in the back of your mind. And just in general, as human beings, we don't necessarily like change. We like the things that we like and we want to continue to do them. And so having to, actually move and change, it was a struggle. But I think that's part of what makes me so strong is being able to adapt.
Yeah, real period of growth there. I want to ask you both this question from Silas. Both of you won the Ultimate Fighter. And obviously your seasons were different. But Kelvin, I want to start with you. What was it like for you to win that show, season 17, I believe, and, get your hand raised at the pinnacle of, that show airing and really have your life change in a moment?
Yeah, I mean, you can see the post-fight speech. I mean, I was crying my eyeballs out, and because of how much it meant to me, that moment meant to me. It was just surreal, I mean, I was just a young 21-year-old kid that didn't know much about much, and for me, for that to happen at that moment in time, for me, was a big, big life changer.
Kamaru, what about for you?
It was I got the privilege of seeing the show, being around the show, and being on the show as a coach in 2011 on season 14, and I said right then and there, because I was still on the fence whether about competing in MMA. I said right then and there I would never do this show, no, because what these guys have to go through, being locked in a house with someone that you potentially might fight, where there's no noise in the house. People don't realize how much of a social experiment it is. There's no noise unless you create it. You're just secluded in this house. There's no TV. There's no phone. There's none of that. And you have to just create stuff to entertain yourself. After a while, it gets to you. And
yeah, I mean, we're living in that big mansion, but that big mansion gets real small, real quick.
Yeah, and it's a challenge, and I said that point I don't want to do the show, but when the opportunity came up and I needed to step out there and represent my team, I kind of had no choice. I had to go out there and make it happen for us, and thankfully and luckily I was able to make that happen.
Yeah, it worked out for you both. Okay, Kelvin, I have a question from Ahmad Albrizis. I can't say any of these last names. I'm so sorry. Ahmad from social media. He wanted to know what your thoughts were going into the last round with Adesanya. And when I saw this one pop up, I was like, I have to ask that because I want to know what was going into your mind for those last 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I had known I probably won that 4th round, so I was going into the 5th round kind of confident. But I think kind of halfway through the round, I kind of don't remember the second half of that 5th round. You know, I was probably semi unconscious. You know, from how many times I got dropped. Yeah, I don't remember much of that round, but I just remember going in there thinking one more round, and I go home a champion. You know, because I know I had won at least one other round, and then the 4th round, and then going into the 5th. You know, the winner takes it. And, you know, it didn't happen for me. Props to Israel for stepping up at that moment.
Have you rewatched that fight or do you try to avoid it? I mean, what are your thoughts when that fight is brought up?
It's probably my favorite fight just because I had so much fun. It's some of the most fun I've ever had in my life, you know, and I don't know why, but I think the styles just matched really well, and I think him and I just had the time of our lives together. as cliche as that may sound, that's funny.
No, we were all octagon side watching. I felt like I was having the time of my life watching you guys. Kamaru, you got a huge smile when he gave that answer. I mean, what did you think about that?
I mean, first and foremost, what an incredible fight, and I put that amongst probably the top 5 best middleweight fights I've ever seen in my life. That I think the UFC's ever had. And Kelvin gave me a heart attack that night. I mean, because it was an emotional roller coaster for me because I was so invested in both guys and knowing both guys, to where I'm sitting there, and I think there's a video on UFC had a camera on us to where me and Henry Cejudo, we are freaking out, you know, each and every round in between, and I got to see the warrior spirit inside Kelvin that fight, and it was something. It was incredible, and even being in a fight myself, you know, a couple months after that with Covington, it's just something so fun about when you're just completely raw, you know, in just experiencing that, and you're just, you know, you don't care at that point. And I'm sure you at that point, Kelvin, you didn't necessarily think about, oh man, I'm tired. Oh man, this hurts, or I'm in this or that. You're just in the moment, and you're just going, and you're just having fun. And you know, that's an incredible moment, and I could definitely relate to that.
I love that. And yes, it's very hard to watch. I mean, I feel like every time I watch you guys fight, you're always fighting somebody who's just as nice as you, just as talented. It's so heart-wrenching to watch, you know, 2 warriors go to battle, but it's what we do. And, you know, speaking of inspiration, I know that both of those fights inspired a lot of people. We had a question from Jack who asked Kamaru who your biggest inspiration is outside of fighting.
My biggest inspiration outside of fighting, I would have to say my parents, my mom and dad. My dad, just because of the hustler that he is, as far as the way that he worked, you know, we never had to complain about anything. It was just a matter of, all right, we need to get this done, and I'm going to figure, if I don't know how to do it now, I'm going to work and figure it out so I can learn how to do it. Just that mentality. And not to be outdone, but my mom is such a, for lack of a better word, when it comes to life, she's just such a savage at being able to deal with certain situations, you know, going through certain things and just having to raise us. My mom, if she doesn't know, you can tell. My mom is the type of person you can't tell that you will never be able to survive. No, it doesn't matter. You could throw her out on the street. Guess what? She's going to learn the skill. She's going to learn the trade, and she's going to be able to change everything. And so just being able to, you know, I was lucky to be born to parents like that. And, you know, I think they're my absolute biggest inspiration for sure.
Oh my gosh, I hope there's a way that she can see this clip. Well, both of your parents can see this clip because I'm sure they'll love it. Kelvin, I want to ask the same for you because I think there's always somebody or something special that drives you guys, especially in the heat of competition or in the hard moments. I mean, who is that for you?
Yeah, it's definitely my mother. You know, my mother was a single mother that raised 2 children on her own, working 2, 3 jobs. Uh, you know, she came from Mexico knowing no English, knowing nobody, and having nothing. You know, we came from nothing. So she is definitely my inspiration in everything that I do. You know, I am here because of her. And yeah.
I love that. Oh, look at the power of moms.
Yeah.
I know. Is it destiny in all these 3 different locations? Okay, this is a great question, actually. For those who aren't quite sure what the bubble experience is like, Brett asked, what is life like in the bubble? Can you talk about how you train in the bubble? And I know for you guys, you know, it's a little bit different on Fight Island than it is here in Las Vegas. Can you both kind of maybe touch upon what it's like for you guys, especially this week?
Yeah, I mean, my coach just got here a little bit ago. And he's saying he's already getting claustrophobic just being here. You know, he wasn't, he didn't, one of my coaches didn't go to Abu Dhabi, so he didn't get through that experience, but he's here. He's saying he's feeling like he's ready to go home and explode because, you know, he's just not used to being quarantined like this. And it's a different experience. You know, the whole hotel is blocked off. People aren't allowed to leave. People aren't allowed to come in. And, yeah, it's a different experience, you know, than any other fight that I've been in.
Are you guys training? You have like your own training rooms, right? Like sort of next to your hotel room so that you can still get in the workouts that you need?
Yeah, the UFC does a good job of providing everything we need: water, food, the dietitian, the nutrition guy, you know, the workout rooms. We got a mat in there. We got waters in there. We got the little sauna space in there. Yeah, they're doing a great job providing everything we need.
Hardest working team in sports, that is for sure. I want to get into some more of these questions kind of related to that. We know how you guys prepare. We know a little bit of how you may cut weight or get ready during fight week, but what do you guys do on fight day? I know everybody sort of has different rituals or different things that they do. How do you guys prepare?
On fight day, there's not really much you can do. I mean, of course, I like to get a good workout in that fight day, that morning. I love to get a workout in. You know, it's just like, you know, typically I like to mimic what I've been doing in training camps. You know, you typically have a good practice in the morning, and then, you know, you might have a skill practice at night or something like that, to where you're more focused on what you're doing. And so for me, you know, I try to replicate that in my fights. But yeah, not much goes through your head on fight day, but the fight. You know, you're going through the emotions and the roller coasters of a fight. Doesn't matter who it is. It could be Joe Blow from down the street. You're about to be in a fight with them. Hey, that's on your mind. Fight day.
Yeah.
Are you guys? Oh yeah, so go ahead, Kelvin.
No, sorry. Yeah, no. For me, I actually look forward to the the breakfast on that day. You know, because for the past 2.5 months, I've been eating just 2 eggs and a piece of toast with some coffee. So the morning of the fight, I go all out. I get the whole works. I get the sausage. I get the bacon. I get the pancakes. I get the eggs. I get the chocolate milk on the side. You know?
I actually love that. I know that there are, you know, that being backstage, not necessarily right now during COVID, but before the COVID era, we would see you guys. Some fighters are sprinting backstage, you know, hours before their fight. They're blowing out their lungs. Some people are napping. You see some people coming back from the green room with like a plate of food. What do you guys do when you get in the building? Are you somebody who likes to sleep in the locker room before your warm-up starts? I mean, I always find it so interesting, the patterns that different people have, you know, those few hours before you walk to the octagon.
Well, it depends on how you gauge it. For me, obviously, lately being one of the last ones on the card, but typically when you get there, you've got a few fights before you fight. And so, you know, you kind of try to relax and, you know, just kind of be in that space, be in your space and whether it's sleep or depending on how you're feeling. If the nerves are a lot, you might want to take a little nap, which you don't really sleep. It's almost impossible. You don't really sleep, but it's just like just being there, being in your own head, being in your zone, and being able to collect your thoughts. And then, gauging it right, knowing when to get up and start going. If you typically require a long warm up, knowing when to get up and get active. I think that's just, typically the most important for me. I don't do much. I don't do much. When I get back there, I'm all business. When I walk in the building, it's all business from there.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It's all business. Once I get in that arena or wherever we may be, it's all business. I am 100% focused on my opponent and what I'm trying to do. And I usually just let that breakfast sit all day. I like to go to the arena on kind of an empty stomach, because that breakfast is the only meal that I probably might have that day.
Kelvin, are you hungry at all?
I might be. I'll be right back, guys. No.
All right. Well, we just have a couple more questions before I let you gentlemen go. I know it's a busy day for you, but I thought this was a really fun one, and I'm very curious to hear the answers. Aria asked, what is the oddest job you worked prior to fighting in the UFC?
Oh, I was light-skinned before. I was 18. I was like light-skinned. I was mixed. I roofed for one summer. Hey, here I am. No, I would have to say, roofing. When I was 18, went to college, and then I came back that freshman year, and I roofed that summer with one of my high school coaches. And and it happened to be one of the hottest summers in Texas history. And so imagine being on a 50, 60 story tower on top of the roof, and you're roofing in 114 degree, temperature. So I learned my lesson, and I, knew respect for those people.
Right. I did that in Arizona one summer, but still wasn't compared to the landscaping business that I did for a few years. That sucked. Doing it in the heat, doing it in the Arizona heat in the summers, shoveling gravel, shoveling cement. It was not cool.
Yeah, neither of those jobs sound like anything that you'd ever want to go back to. So congratulations on your UFC careers and all the success you've had there, so you don't have to be working on roofs in 115 degree heat. All right, so we have a little segment now where we just want sort of like a rapid fire, where you are going to just give me the first thing that comes to your head. And I'm really sorry, Kelvin, we're starting with what your favorite cheat meal is. So you guys just, I guess, take turns and tell me what your favorite is.
Let's go ahead and have a burger.
I'm going chicken fried rice from the Thai spot.
Ooh, nice. Excellent answers. What about the latest streaming binge you had?
Ooh, The Office.
Bridgerton.
Unexpected. I haven't. Is it good?
It's really good. It's really good. Hey, I watch that. I'm into that old English. You watched it too, didn't you?
Now. I might have to check it out now.
The Office is a classic. Kamaru, I just started The Crown, so maybe I got to follow it up with Bridgerton. We'll
I've been seeing that too, and I'm thinking, maybe, doing that too. But Bridgerton for sure was good. It was a good one.
These answers are so good. Okay. I think, Kelvin, are you using your phone right now to stream this?
I am.
Okay. So then I'll just ask this straightforward. I was going to try and see if you guys wanted to pull up the first song that your phone would play on shuffle. But what was the last song you both listened to?
Oh, man.
Or is there one that's like hitting the vibe in camp that you're like, oh, I put this on and it's helping me through my treadmill sessions or whatever it may be?
For me, it was For the Night, Pop Smoke.
Okay. Mine, I think the last one I just listened to in the car was Losing It by, what is it? You know, I'm losing it. That, you know, that house song, you know. Who was it by? I don't want to do it. I got to do it justice. It was by.
I wish I knew.
I know the artist. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank here.
Oh.
Here we go. There it is. Losing It by Fisher.
Okay.
I'm losing it. And you just got it. Hey, that song mixed with a little bit of coffee on the way to the gym. Somebody gonna die.
This is so great. I'm so glad we're doing this. Kelvin, I think I know your answer, but who's your favorite athlete?
Athlete in general.
Yeah.
I think he's right there. No, Kobe Bryant, man, for sure. Definitely my favorite athlete ever. I remember when he went to the UFC athlete retreat in 2017, and he was a guest speaker, right? And I just remember being so captivated by him and his presence, his thought process, and I was just so impressed by him that I went the next day and bought his jersey. You know, and that was the first time I'd ever done that. I don't follow players, I don't follow teams like that, but he was a guy that I went and bought the jersey the next day.
That's really awesome. Kamaru, what about you?
Oh man, this is a tough one. I've always been a fan of track and field all through my life, and I love the athletes in track. It's my favorite sport to watch. Is track and field. And so just I would have to say his favorite athlete, and I like the classic. I'm talking the Michael Johnsons of track and field, the Maurice Green,
right?
Yeah, you know, and so of course Usain Bolt nowadays. I think me and him we would have a lot of fun if we went to a party together. You know, we'd have a lot of fun. But I would say it's a toss up between him and LeBron. Because I think LeBron would be cool too to kick it with, you know. So I'd say they are both, as far as favorite athletes go, they are a toss up. But obviously, I'm gonna throw one in there. The person I would want to hang out with, just spend a day with, do whatever with, Shaq. Right now, we've met a couple times, but I think Shaq, we have a lot of fun together.
I think that's a good pick. All right, this is the last one of our rapid fire questions. So. What's your favorite place to travel?
I like to go to Mexico. I like to go down south, down to Tulum. I don't know if you guys have ever been there or heard of it, but yeah, that's the place where I like to go after my fights. I like to go escape the world and kind of reset my mind, reset my soul, and yeah, that's my favorite place in the world. I want to retire there.
Oh, I love that. Beautiful.
For me, I haven't really spent a ton of time. I would say up until this point in my life, the person that I really just enjoyed was I would say India. That was at the place. But you know, I've been to Dubai, and I didn't really get to really enjoy a lot of time there. But I'm thinking that wouldn't be a bad place to have a good time too. So it's a toss up between them.
Dubai's got some great food. I mean, hopefully one day you can try India, but Dubai, I can vouch for their food scene.
Oh yeah.
All right, and before I let you guys go, I've asked you all these questions, so now I want to ask you the question that I guess is most important. And how do you believe you get your hand raised? Kelvin, I'll start with you.
You know, I just know that I put in the work. I know that mentally and physically, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to be killed. I'm ready to kill or be killed. You know, and you know, I feel like more so, my mind is ready. You know, my past two fights, I feel like my mind wasn't all there. I feel like my mind is more present. My mind is more aware, and I think that's gonna be the difference in this fight.
For me, I would have to say it's going to depend on my opponent. It takes a specific type of opponent to pull out a specific type of fight out of me. If they haven't done their homework and they don't bring their A game, then it's just going to be a one-sided dominant victory for me. But if they did their homework and they covered all the bases, which my opponent should know about me, is you know, they bring out a certain type of dog to where I get to that mode. What I'm looking forward to is getting to that mode that me and Kelvin talked about earlier, to where you're just having fun and you're not thinking anymore. You know,
Right.
that's the mode that I'm looking forward to going into. So if my opponent did the necessary work and he prepared, then y'all might see that. But if not, then I would say just a one-sided dominant victory.
Well, I've got to say, I am so looking forward to both of these fights. Kelvin, you take on Ian Heinisch, and Kamaru, you take on Gilbert Burns this Saturday at UFC 258. Guys, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Everyone out there who has watched, thank you for tuning in, and thank you for submitting your questions. They were all really fun. We appreciate it. Good luck to you guys. I'll see you later this week.
Good job,
Thank
guys.
you.